Hey everybody, welcome back to the Comic Wall. It's your girl, the Outcast Angel, and today let's talk about issue 14 of Redneck by Donny Cates, Lisandro Estherren, and Dee Cunniffe. Now, wow, this issue really opened up a whole new door of information about, well, the Bowmans and about the world of vampires in, well, the Redneck world, you know? And so, starting off, we uh we we continue from where issue 13 left off after Bartlett took a shotgun blast to the chest. Ouch. And so I was wrong. He did get shot and he was killed almost. Anyway, no, he didn't exactly die, but we see him here going through this sequence of like slipping away and um, you know, pretty much accepting the fact that he was about to die. And my dogs are barking like crazy. Sorry. Anyway, um, he was ready to die. He like, well, not ready to die, but he was accepting it with not really without a fight, you know. And so that doesn't that doesn't last very long because now we see this pale white-haired woman standing in front of him, saying, "Welcome back." And he's like, "Am I dead?" "No more than usual." "Oh, good." He's disappointed, you know. Anyway, turns out, he was patched up, and well, basically patched up, and so they fixed up his chest where he got shot, and they also patched up his arm as well. But turns out they also shaved his face, so now uh, he has crazy baby face now. You know, it's like that meme where you see this really hairy dude. He puts on shaving cream, then he starts shaving, and then next he's a baby or something. You know, it's I love that meme. Anyway, turns out this woman is named Ingrid, and she has the same powers that Perry has in the way of talking inside people's heads or getting inside people's heads, you know? Anyway, turns out she is she says the land you are on is under my jurisdiction as a representative of the Parliament of Elders. You are here only because I allow it. I am the reason July did not leave you to burn. I'm the only reason you and your family are safe, and furthermore, I am not one to raise your voice to. Anyway, I also heard somewhere that I think I'm probably pronouncing July's name wrong. I mean, the way it's spelled is spelled July, but I've heard some other people calling her Julie, which kind of makes sense, but I kind of like July better, you know? It just makes sense, just the fact that she was introduced in July, and it's a very Texas thing to do, I would think. So obviously, Bartlett has no idea what she's talking about, and so Ingrid kind of said, he kind of says like, "I thought this was July's farm," and so Ingrid kind of says, "Allow me to be clear. The farm is indeed July's. The land it sits upon is mine." She says something very interesting here by saying, "Austin belongs to me." So now they're in Austin. They're far away from Sulphur Springs. At least I think. I'm not too sure where Sulphur Springs sits from Austin, but I mean, obviously they have some kind of setup going on that Bartlett isn't aware of, and so at one point he asks, "How's Perry doing?" And so we cut away from them for a minute to cut back to Greg and Seamus, who are burying their battle tank, the one they were so happy to have and now have to bury and put out of sight. Now, this is interesting because I didn't realize that Greg and Seamus were back together. Like I thought they had been separated as they were getting away from the safe house, but it turns out nope, they're back together. And so we see this little I guess what do you call it? A introduction between Winnie and I forgot her name already. Between Winnie and Becca, and Greg and Seamus. And so while tensions start off, uh, Becca's like, "Hey, we're going into town to see this band. You guys want to come?" And it's funny because Greg's like, "We're gonna have to ask our dad," but obviously Winnie and Becca obviously haven't had to be as careful as the Bowmans have, because the Bowmans have had some beef with the humans for a while, so they're a little uh, put off by this, I guess, um, behavior. It's kind of like that other meme where people are like, why do you have to ask your parents to go out? You're a grown adult. First off, I'm Hispanic, and second of all, you have to ask your mother to use the restroom while you guys are cleaning, like, or something like that. I kind of just messed it up, but it's too real, honestly. Anyway, now we see Bartlett checking in on Perry, and she's not doing very good at all. Turns out Ingrid tells him that I have tried to communicate with her in the old ways, but her mind is in pieces. We have fed her and managed the pain, but things don't look good. And so she says there will be no easy path to recovery. In time, she may learn to speak, to walk, and remember certain things, but to make her truly whole again, she will require the blood of her maker, which is Gramps, or Grandpa Bowman, who died or supposedly died. He may be dead, but we still haven't really seen much of him since the end of the first arc. Anyway, now we see JV coming in, saying like, don't speak another word to her. And so we see that JV and Ingrid have had some history together, and we get some awesome origin explanation. Well, not really an explanation, but like origin detail between the both of them. And we see like a huge a Viking fight between other Vikings and other vampires, and I'm not too sure where they stand at this point. I don't even know if JV is a vampire at this point, but holy crap, that is intense. Anyway, they send Bartlett out, and he's obviously torn up about what Perry's going through. And funny thing here, we see Greg and Seamus coming up to him asking if they can go into town. And he's like, go for it, go have fun. Everything's okay here. Bring back some cigarettes, whatever. And then, well, I think that was interesting because of the fact that, like, in issue 1, when they first had to go out, they really had to convince, like, JV and Bartlett to let them go because, it just wasn't safe for their kind at the time, especially with the Landrys going around, Anyway, now we see July coming up to Bartlett, and they have this little exchange between each other, but she almost seems like she's sorry about what happened, but mostly she's sorry about like the little girl, like Perry. And so she seems like, obviously she probably has some feelings. Sorry, my voice is cracking like crazy. She probably still has some feelings for Bartlett, and she lets him know that you and your people can stay here until she's able to travel, but then this isn't permanent. And then as July's walking away, he calls out to her, probably trying to patch things up, maybe even get back together. But then we see JV crashing the party, complaining about old whiskey and everything, and so they kind of just cut it off at that, and July leaves. And so we see this exchange between Bartlett and JV, where JV tells him about this Parliament of Elders, and what he describes them as, they's kind of just what they sound like, bunch of old ass vampires that got together and made a bunch of rules for our kind. Grandpa was one of them for a while at least, us Bowman's never been wild about that stuff, you know, covens and all that kind of shit. It's just amazing. But now we see this tower in the middle of this unknown city. It's probably in Austin, maybe. And we see this woman. I think this might actually be Ingrid, but she's a little more dressed up, and she's talking to these other vampires who look pretty like bourgeois or some or whatever shit, you know. I mean, they just look like all kinds of weird. Anyway, turns out they're not too happy with the Bowmans, and they're kind of surprised. Like, one of them even says, "I'm surprised they even made it. They made it out of the 17th century." Like, jeez. And so she reports how they didn't kill their elder. They tried to kill him, but they lost him, you know. And so one of the vampires says, I think it's time we cut our ties with the Bowman family. And Ingrid's like, if you're thinking about killing them, you know, that's not good. I mean, some of you have history with them. Some of you have fought alongside them. That's not fair to them. But then the guy's like, no one's talking about killing them. I was thinking exile. But Ingrid has some pretty interesting words to say in defense of the Bowmans by saying, what does she say? It's in my professional opinion, sir, if you try and exile the Bowman family from Texas, you would have an easier time just killing them. And then we see 4 of these elder vampires, and they look very interesting. I mean, we only saw the first 2 and then Ingrid, but this is intense. This is obviously opening the world of Redneck to a more broader span of storyline, you know, and I'm excited to see where this goes. So that's the end of this issue and the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys liked it, and if you did, drop a like, show the love, hit that subscribe button to get more of my videos, ring the bell to get notifications of when I post new videos, so that way you guys stay updated and don't miss out. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.